So when you work with me, you're not joining a course. What we have is a clear roadmap to success. Now, this property game offers so much, and there's many quick wins that you can get along the way, but you have to understand that you have to go through the various phases of the roadmap to be able to create a sustainable, a predictable, and a scalable business. And that's what I do with my clients. And we work in all the different areas, depending on where you enter the program as a skill set, what skill sets you currently have, what you don't have, and where your ambitions want to take you. So my roadmap to success, there's many factors included in it. This is not a course. We're not learning a strategy here. I am consulting with you and your business, your property business, to get you to where you need to be. Now that journey can be anywhere from, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years, depending on where you are and where you want to go. But, we start with various different phases, which I'm going to come on to in a second. But typically, we go through the mindset, the knowledge, the brand development, how we actually source deals, how to network properly, how to find those high net worth investors that are going to benefit your business, potentially become joint venture partners in the future, how to fund your deals, whether that be a rent to SA deal, whether it be a rent to rent deal, a lease option, or a straightforward purchase, how to manage teams, how to manage your tax and your accounts, all the way through to diversifying your strategies. There's so many areas in what I've just discussed that creates a successful business. Now, the maximization model. This is what everybody has to understand, to have a predictable, a sustainable, and a scalable business. At the beginning, you will start with, where it's just you. And this typically is about 0 to 2.5 grand a month income. You may be operating one strategy with a handful of properties. As you start to push 2.5 to 5K worth of net income, maybe 5 to 10 properties, you'll start to take on people. You'll recruit your first hire, which will potentially be a VA to manage your guests or manage your portfolio for you. As you then continue to grow, naturally you're going to be acquiring more property. Once you've got the system in place to deal source, which is one of the first things that we do go through, then you're going to be able to, continue to acquire property en masse. And this is where you move into kind of the diversification and the team building phase of the maximization model. 5 to 15K net income, and where you need to start getting operational assistance so you can come out of the operations bit by bit. Because if you get sucked into the operations, you're never going to be able to build a scalable business. You have to understand that. And that is a mindset flaw by most. And, once you get over that at the beginning and you understand where you're heading from day one, then you hit the peak of the maximization model, which is, where I sit now and where I get all my clients to focus on where they need to be several years down the line. And that's where you're working on the business, not in the business. Typically at this point, your business is making 15 to 50K net a month, no problem at all. It's been sustaining that for several months, possibly even a year. And you are then coming out. You're a non-operating CEO of your business. You've got multiple revenue streams, potentially even multiple businesses within that business. And that is the maximization model that we take you on. That is the journey. That's what we're aiming for. And, it's what we need to do to get you into a scalable business. Now, within that maximization model, there's 3 elements of everybody's life. And it's important to understand that, when building a business, you don't want to burn your life down. You don't want to have no time at all for your family. So, you've got no one to share your money with because your family might leave you because you spent no time with them. Or similarly, you've worked so hard that you're so unfit and healthy that, you potentially put yourself in hospital or even worse, because of the stress and the strain. So we need to make sure that our money, our freedom, and the impact we are having on our bodies is all in sync to create the perfect maximization model and, make sure that we have the best life we can have and the best business we can have, because a healthy life equals a healthy business and a healthy business equals a healthy life. And within the business, obviously we have various elements, but in brief, we have sales and marketing, we have the operations of the business, and we have the delivery of the product. Again, we need to get them all working in harmony, and we need to make sure that they're constantly working away without us. That is at the highest level of the maximization model. So as you go through your journey with myself, I have 3 stages. Okay. So stage 1 is 21 to 58 days it takes to create a habit. So that is stage 1. We need to create some fundamental habits of just repeating the same thing over and over again until it becomes, ingrained and it works. We then move the next 16 to 18 months is where we start to see a lifestyle change. So as your business develops from a habit to a lifestyle, then you'll start to see shifts in, the way you're operating as a person, the way you're operating as a family, and more importantly, the way your business is operating to support that lifestyle. And then over a 3 and 4 year period, that's when a serious identity shift takes place. It solidifies and you are a different person. Ever been to college? You go 4 years in college, you look back, I am a total different person to what I was 4 years ago. The top end of high school, 11-year-old to 16-year-old, you look back and you say, I'm a total different person to what I was when I was 11. This is the same, and in business, we go through these phases, and it's important to understand that, how the journey works and the timescales that they do work on. Now, I break these then down into phases with my clients. So with phase 1 is the emerge phase, the creating of the habits. Phase 2 is the evolve phase, where we really start to solidify what we're doing. 16 to 18 months, it becomes our life, it becomes part of us. We really embrace that and kick forward. And then phase 3 and 4 is the eminence phase, which is basically you are a influencer in your sphere, and you know what you're doing, and you've really mastered the art of it, and it just becomes part of you, and you're a total different person because of it than when you look back at where you maybe started your property journey. So in phase 1, it typically looks like a 3-month sort of working environment, and it's a container that we work in for 3 months, where we are forming a company. We're understanding the base knowledge of one strategy. We are getting out there finding deals. We're starting to set them up, and we're delivering that product. We then rotate that time and time again. So we really ingrain that habit of how we do that process, and slowly our portfolio builds. Now, we'll get some quick wins along the way. Don't get me wrong. We'll get some quick wins. Most of my clients will get at least 1 or 2 properties within the first 30 days of working with myself. And within this 3-month period, we're aiming for 5. We want a handful of properties set up, ready to go, and generating us income back into the business. The next phase is the evolve phase. So this is where we're going, undergo evolutionary life and business change. This is where our lifestyle starts to change. And this looks like a 6-month phase. Now, what we're going to do here is improve our base knowledge around multiple strategies. We are going to start building a sustainable brand. Our marketing will really deliver on what we're trying to do as a brand. You've got to understand what your brand represents and where you want it to go. We start leveraging time from other people. We start leveraging setups of properties. We start networking in better places and the right places. We'll start to build a team around us with some operational hires. And we start really finding the balance and the importance of self-care within our model. At the beginning, the first 3 months, it is, very much, got to get the graft in, we've got to understand it, and we've got to get that snowball rolling. Whereas phase 2 is we know how to do that. We've got the snowball rolling. Now we have to make it a scalable business that is predictable. So we do that by putting in good systems and processes around the business, and make sure that anybody we plug into that system with new hires can easily operate it, and therefore you can come out the operations. Phase 3 is the eminence phase. And this is where you've got superiority within your sphere. You are known as an expert within that industry. You know what you're doing, and you've done it time and time again. So phase 3 is a 12 to 24 month sort of phase, depending on how quick you go. But we basically we've emerged, we've evolved, and now we are taking it to the next level. We're creating big asset wealth. Now we're starting to look at working towards that evolutionary change within our business that is sustainable for a legacy. This is where we start to really build, and we look at multi-unit investing. We look at joint venture partners at high levels. We start networking with high net worth individuals and attracting investor finance. It's really important that we understand how to attract money in this game, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, you will eventually run out. And if you want to go into bigger things, if you want to go into big developments, which is where your journey will go with myself, because I truly believe that that's the best way forward, multi-units under one roof creates great cash flow and economies of scales on the cost. So you then become so we've got to really push that way. And then you will become an influencer brand in your niche market. So obviously for me, whilst I have HMOs and buy-to-lets and everything else, service accommodation is definitely where I have become an influencer, and I am in that Eminence phase of service accommodation. It is my bread and butter, my baby. I know what I'm doing, and people look up to me for that expert advice in that field. And that's what you need to become in the field that you do choose to push down. Now, as we go into development, there is this new phase of a new analysis and a new way to fund deals, because it is very vastly different from building your asset wealth on the sort of smaller BRR type phase, which we will touch on in phase 2. That's where we start to build our assets. In phase 3 is where we start to really scale our assets. We may potentially look to trade nationally and internationally at this stage. And you are really wanting to come out of the business. We're building a business to sell. And that is an important part that we have to understand at the beginning, is that this isn't just a property strategy. This is not a property course. From day one, we are building a business to sell. Now, every single time you take on a new unit within your business, you are creating a recurring cash flow. Recurring cash flow businesses have a high valuation. If you plan correctly and you develop this quickly, you can build a business to sell. And you should be doing that by taking yourself out of the operations, working on the business. So if at any point you want to sell that business, then you can simply step aside and offload it for a nice paycheck. And that is how we're building our clients through these various different phases. And that is how we go from emerging to evolving to eminence within the space, working with myself and my team. We do this in various structures. I would invite you to apply if you do want to understand how we support you, but hopefully giving you the idea of what the journey would look like and how the roadmap plays out from the start to the finish, and then we continue to develop. But more importantly, what I really want you to understand is I am not taking on clients as a number. I take on clients because I want to go on a journey with them for the next 3 to 4 years. I don't want clients for 3 months. I want clients for the next 3 to 4 years. Several of my clients have already become my partners, and we're joint venturing on things. That is kind of also what I would like to do with every single person that comes on board the program. So in that sense, the program is selective. I invite you to fill in the application form. We will reach out to you and we'll have a conversation about how we're a good fit and how we can, take you on that roadmap and get you to where you need to be. As long as you have the motivation and as long as you're the right fit, then, we will work together for hopefully many years to come and help you scale from where you are right now to a different identity in 3 to 4 years' time with a very, very, very successful business. This is about transformation. At the end of the day, you want to transform from where you are now to a much better life. And how that looks for you is different for each and every person, whether that's more money, whether it's more time freedom, whether it's more success, whether it's more recognition. It's all different, but it's probably a bit of everything for everyone. But ultimately, time freedom and money freedom is the ultimate goal, so that you can then create a legacy that you leave behind. So what we do within the program, within the timescales that we work together, is create that transformation from where you are right now to where you want to go. And we are there to support you, and we will get you there. We have the pillars in place. We have the phases in place. We have the roadmap clearly mapped out. And what you're doing is, relying on my experience and my knowledge, my information, my motivation to pull you through that roadmap and make sure that you get through the phases, because there are speed bumps. So no one says this is easy. There are speed bumps along the way. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you are showing up every single day, showing up every single week, being consistent, taking the actions from the roadmap, then you will start to see that transformation in front of your eyes very, very quickly, and it can go from where you are right now to something that you probably only dream of with consistent daily action quite quickly in the grand scheme of things, But the great thing about it all is once that transformation happens, you get more time back, you get more freedom, you get more time with your family and your friends, you can change your lifestyle habits, because you can afford many more things, and ultimately you are slowly changing that identity, but you're creating a legacy to leave behind. You're creating that business that we can sell. You are creating that legacy that you can pass on to your kids if you don't want to sell it, or your family members, whoever that might be. But the most important thing is you are going on a journey to make a stamp on this world and make sure that your time here has been well spent and everybody's going to remember you.